Actually, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on the panel, why don't you just come up on the stage and we'll do a rolling intro from here. It'll just be easier.
So, of course, you guys know Vesa. He's very well known here in the region and internationally. He's one of the first people on the NFT scene. He's the guy that actually introduced me to NFT and what that actually means when I had no clue whatsoever that this was even a use case. And I didn't know even about the standard, the ERC 721. And yeah, it was a hell of a journey since then. Yeah, there was a lot of trends going up and down, but it was so far so good, I would say. We're still very early, by the way. And then we have Amrita, who was one of the first people, if not the first local artist to do NFT art here. It's a huge leap of faith. A lot of people don't want to take that. You know, you're putting everything on the line to try new things. You're getting out of the comfort zone. So I salute you for that. You're a risk taker, and hopefully you're rewarded for that. And inshallah, we have a huge auction today, right? Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. What time?
In the evening at the gala dinner.
And is it in person or is it in person and online?
No, it's just going to be in person.
Okay.
The auction.
I don't want to ruin any surprises. Anything else you want to say about that auction?
And then, I don't know, I think it's going to be, because we're at the Future Innovation Summit, I recently created a piece that I haven't actually released. It's not been released to the public, but I've done a couple of previews at the Theatre of Digital Art. I think you were there as well. And it's called Future Emirati. And so Emirati Future, sorry. And it's the best place for me to kind of auction it off, because Emirati Future with the Future Innovation Summit. And this is really, I couldn't have thought of a better place. And I also had the honor of having Sheikh Saka attend, as well as Mr. Adnan, to the Theatre of Digital Art at that time. And so we're coming full circle. But what's even, to complete the circle as well, is that in this artwork, what's really exciting is it's got Dr. Marwan's voice in it, which is even more exciting as well.
Yes. And I think even with Vesa, I'm involved in his art now as well. So can you tell us, Vesa, a little bit about your art as well?
Actually, do me a favor, pause 1 second. Are we able to get Dimitri? Welcome, everyone. Okay, that was the soft launch of the panel. Now we have
I forgot to tell you, the levels on that one is much higher than this, so you have to lower the energy. No, the levels on that mic is way high, so you have to keep...
Testing. All right, everyone. Welcome to the NFT panel. NFT and art. Here we are starting. Is it okay? Yeah. Very good. Okay, thank you for the modulation. Let's have our expert guests introduce themselves. We'll start with Dr. Marwan and move this way. Just give your 30-second, I know with you with 35 seconds, spiel on yourself, and we'll go.
So my name is Dr. Marwan Al Zarouni. I'm CEO of Dubai Blockchain Center, also a member of the World Economic Forum on the future of cryptocurrency, as well as I sit on the Future Blockchain Council in Dubai. Dubai has a number of future councils, including one on safety and security, entrepreneurship, and other things, but I sit on the one on blockchain technology. And also I am an employee of the Digital Dubai, which is a newly created government entity. I run the information services. I'm the director of information services there, where we help entrepreneurs and also big corporations be established in Dubai, make their life easier and their journey here in Dubai optimal.
Very good.
My name is Hov Dilboyan. I'm originally from Armenia, but lived in the United States. I'm a strategic partner with Sheikh Zakir bin Mohammed Al Qasimi. My company's name is New Era Cargo Shipping, also a new one called Coast to Coast Cargo Services. I've took interest in NFT for many other reasons, but Bitcoin, because as we all know, now NFT is on Ethereum server, so they specifically just working with one cryptocurrency. So for that reason, it's expanding and exploding. So that's how I took the interest in NFT. Thank you.
Let's pass the microphone. Oh, we got it. Very good.
I'm Fernando Martino. My past is very varied in technology and cybersecurity, and I've been in this space for like 10 years, and I decided to do a bit more fun, you know. There's a lot of fun side on NFTs and metaverse and, you know, gaming coming now into the equation. And I had a VR set a while back, and, you know, for me, what it really attracted me is trying to help, you know, the creators economy is something that really what's the right word? I'm really concentrated in trying to help the artists to come closer to the people that appreciate their art and collectors as well. So I decided to create a high-end art and collectibles platform and try to help some of these wonderful people to actually take the actual value from what they do and express themselves in a way that, you know, sometimes is not possible, you know. And I think that's what we're discussing today.
Hi, my name's Amrita Sethi, and as Dr. Marwan said, I'm the first NFT artist in Dubai. I haven't always been an artist. I came from a kind of banking background, became a traditional artist, and then I became an NFT artist. And what NFTs have done for me personally is they've been able to kind of give and inject life into my my art, which is actually based on sound and technology. And so by being able to now NFT it, I'm able to really pull out the real kind of extra dimensions that you can take.
Hello.
I guess we'll shift to Dimitri.
Yes, it was me. Sorry, I was asked to talk.
How are you,
Sorry
sir?
to interrupt you.
So you almost gave Amrita a heart attack. That was almost an NFT-worthy heart attack. Like we could have literally captured that moment and made it digitally scarce.
That should be NFT, definitely 100%.
So we're gonna hold on 1 second. Dimitri, please introduce yourself. Explain your connection to the Hermitage, and this is the brief intro part. But we will come back to you first for questions because we understand you're on a limited time. So please.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There are some technological things on the way. I'm working at the Hermitage Museum, and we're doing the first virtual museum NFT exhibition that will be totally virtual, and that's the thing we are very much on now. The exhibition will open in November. We're creating the unique augmented reality space in there, and it has nothing to do with sales of NFT. It deals only with the trying to understand the phenomenon on the NFT from the curatorial and museum point of view.
Very good. Sir.
Hi, everyone. First of all, what a rock star panel. Kind of privileged to be here, and Your Highness. And I'm a digital artist since 2008. I was first a filmmaker. And then in 2008, I kind of came up with my own process through body painting and photographing those paintings and using computer technology to put it together as a digital original. And in halfway through 2017, I came into the crypto art and NFT space as probably among the first professional artists to come and generate the whole space and be a part of it. And it's been quite the ride. So since 2008, I've had digital originals, and there's about 350 of them now that can become a market force now because NFTs are here. And it's going to transform just about everything that we know. So it's exciting to be here and talk about this thing.
And your name, sir?
Vesa.
There you go. Fantastic. I feel like you have a poignant point to make about NFTs. Actually, talk about your car project. Let's just start with that for like a context.
Well, sure. In art, what is quite important is provenance in many different ways, and it's a privilege to be working with Dr. Marwan on this whole thing with his Tesla. So if we could show the slide now, if the video people are here.
So I'll just tell you a little bit.
Yeah, there we go.
Here we go.
Cool. So this is Dr. Marwan's Tesla, and it's wrapped in my digital art. And what you now saw was a real car, a physical car. And the project has now something like, what, 55 cars that we're turning into NFTs. But now what you're looking at is the virtual reality version of this car that is being built with a company in Finland who are helping us transform this whole thing so that when you buy this car as an NFT, you get the physical car, you get the art that it's wrapped in, but you'll be able to also point your mobile phone onto that car and the art becomes alive around in the screen, but also the virtual reality of this version of this car. And we're going to build a whole metaverse, or basically a place where you'll be able to also drive the virtual reality car. So all of this is stacked on top of one another as value. Because even if you buy a $2 million Lamborghini or something like that, first of all, they're boring in comparison to this. But secondly, they're 30–40% less in value immediately as you drive it out the shop. Now, this is a 2017 Tesla. It has a certain kind of market value at this point. But now that we're going to auction this in the correct kind of way, we're aiming to make something like $1 million, $1.5 million, because of the provenance of where it comes from and how it's delivered and how it's the first in the world to be done like that. So this is what you can do with art when you do it right.
I like it. And then Amrita, I got to ask, the headset is?
Well, the headset is just very futuristic. I'll put it on, but I can't talk at the same time. So it kind of serves as a bit of a mask as well, as a bit of an accessory. But I just loved seeing Vessa's project. I think that's amazing. And I think really there's a lot to be said about kind of creating, taking an object and then making more out of it. So just to tell you about sort of my latest project is, how many people have been to the DIFC in this room? A couple of people? Yeah, everybody? So the DIFC Innovation Hub have just recently opened, and I've painted the world's first augmented reality NFT mural. So I do encourage everybody to go down and check out this mural, because you just need to scan the QR code on the mural and the whole thing comes alive. And I think this is some of the advantages of NFTs, right? So whether it's a car that is virtual reality that's in the metaverse, whether it's a wall which is augmented reality and it's coming out at you, we're now being able to get into what I call a hybrid reality, that there's there's limitations to the physical world, but being able to activate that through digital enhancements means that the user has a very different experience of it. And that's what I find really amazing, because it kind of unlocks a whole amount of creativity and as well as experience, which I think is going to just not only going to transcend the artist world, but I think will also go into into brands and companies. So imagine now you're driving down Sheikh Zayed Road, or you see an advert and a top brand and you've got a banner, but now augmented reality is helping tell the story of that artwork. So I think we're going to see a lot more of this coming forward.
So let me follow up with a question, and then
Yeah.
we can maybe involve Fernando with this also, or we'll open up to the group. When I think NFTs and art, I'm usually thinking of newly created art that is sort of hyper-real, in that a sense it incorporates things beyond the base image itself. It evolves, it has interaction. It's more than just a 2 or 3-dimensional thing that would have been created in the past. To what extent does NFTing prior legacy-style art play a role? Like, does making an NFT of the Mona Lisa add anything to the experience of the Mona Lisa, or is it something that's inherently related to new art and new media?
I think it's a very good question, but I think it's a bit of both, right? So I think it's like you can relate it to movies, for example. So the old movies will always be in. I mean, that even getting that NFT of old masters in itself there's a massive value in that. In fact, if anything, these values will be millions. And when people talk about NFTing masters like Salvador Dali, and I mean, you can definitely talk a bit more about that. These amounts are really large. Those should be going for large amounts. And then you start to get into the tokenization of it. And I think I'll let Fernando talk about that. But I think for new art, what it does is that it creates a whole new genre of art that is separate to in itself. And I think sometimes you can also apply this new genre of art and overlay it onto some of the old masters. But for example, like putting augmented reality onto a Dali painting, for example. But with all of
you can make the argument that Dali is already augmented reality.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say it if you really want to blow your mind. But at the same time, I think it's an issue of copyrights for the old masters. But I think going forward, what's really exciting is to see what kind of creativity is going to be unlocked in this sense.
So let's do Fernando, and then let's bring Dimitri in the conversation afterwards. But Fernando, to what extent does the NFT concept, I'll just reiterate, apply to pre-existing pre-NFT art? What does it add, or is it most like a use case for new art that incorporates this technology?
Yes, yes, for sure. Yeah, and look, we need to look at art and really understand. It's just not art, yeah, it's collectibles as well.
Okay.
So when we talk about NFTs, it's not just about art, it's collectibles, yeah? And it really started like that. If you go back to 2016, 17, it was just collectibles that were coming on, yeah? There was not much art being NFT'd, so we have to...
And I'll interrupt for a second. Distinguish, if you might, the collectible use case from the art use case, if you might.
No, they all fit into the same, yeah? It's just, you have to see it that it's a digital representation of something, yeah? Being a collectible, being art, it's just a representation of something, and it means different things for you. I mean, I particularly don't like stamps, you know, but there's people who love collecting stamps, you know, and who am I to say that stamps are not good, you know? Everyone collects what they love, you know, it's about how you relate to something, you know, and how you relate to art, and you collect art as well. Yeah? So it is, everything is collectibles, being art or what we mean by collectibles, yeah? Then when we have to see that art is evolving. We're talking about the masters, you know, then evolved. I mean, think about how it evolved with Andy Warhol, you know, and the Prince and Banksy's, and then at the same time we saw people like Basquiat, you know. I love Basquiat, you know. Imagine Basquiat 100 years ago. I mean, it would be crazy, you know. People would think that the guy was out of this world, you know. So art has evolution, and I think when we enter in this space with stuff that these two great people are doing, it's just an evolution of what we consider art, yeah? And the same with people. It's a digital art. I consider that an evolution of art, yeah? So if you stick to that, then you start to understand try to figure out what is really the end goal of NFTs. Yeah, and when people still can't figure out, you know, it is virtual worlds, it's the metaverse, yeah? And it is about that immersive experience that you will have. Many people talk about VR, and I don't think it's going to be VR, it's going to be AR, yeah? As you walk through the world and you are connected to all of those virtual worlds, but in an immersive experience. So VR, in my perspective, was a failure, and I think it's going to continue to be a failure.
Failure? Did I hear that? Did you say VR is a failure?
It will be a failure in my perspective.
Interesting.
You know?
Okay, we're going to...
AR, yes.
We'll get back to that one. That's an interesting one. Dimitri, let me bring you into the conversation. Please take a moment and explain your project a little bit more, and I think in your connection to the Hermitage, because that seems a perfect instance of looking at how NFTs apply to pre-digital art, and I'm curious how this is all tying together.
Thank you for the question. I can't hear you not very well, but I guess what you're asking. We're now building the twin of the museum, the Celestial Hermitage, the virtual twin of the whole museum that will be its presence in the metaverse, and all the exhibitions and all the collection will be all there. So we start now with the NFT exhibition dealing with the whole subject of the NFTs that calls it the ethereal ether. It plays with the cryptocurrency and with poetry and with some Masonic allusions that we have in St. Petersburg especially. And this exhibition will try to show NFTs as they are in the virtual world. So there will be no screens, no physical presence, because my understanding of showing the NFT on the screens is like showing video art. So we try to avoid this completely. And in order to get to the exhibition, we'll need to go into the virtual world fully with the glasses or with the mobile phones or computer. So, and my understanding is that the NFT are becoming part of the collection. So we're working now very hard on making the beginning of the NFT collection of the Hermitage Museum. We have started this already and will continue. So now the question is, what will be the curatorial principles of such a collection? And we're working hard on it.
Very good. Oh, if I can ask you, I'm going to ask you a tough question, if you're inclined, or both of you actually. Both of you. Can you come up with a succinct definition of the metaverse? Either one of you.
So I will not explain what the metaverse is, but I will explain what is the idea of something like pushing the boundary of art and things like that. Okay. What we perceive ourselves, everything we have, like a mobile phone, footwear, clothes, cars we drive, are all status symbols, right? In the metasphere or the virtual worlds, a lot of these items as well as are now considered status symbols. So a guy walking in Dubai with a kandora, every single one of us here, Emiratis, wear kandoras. In the Western world, it's totally different, right? The perception of how, status of a person is in Dubai is totally different than how it is, let's say, in India or in the US or the UK. Even, things that you wear, like watches, friends you hang out with, right? Different styles that you have, different cultures. Everyone has, I know even, I've read some literature, even belts in some cultures, the belt itself could be made like from threads of gold. And if I look at the guy wearing a gold belt, that would not look so nice to me, but in that culture, it would look like this is the richest and most, prestigious guy in this whole culture, right? And the metaverse is no difference. All these, craziness that we see right now, or all this enthusiasm as well that we see in the metaverses with people showing their art pieces, items that they own, even within games and that kind of stuff. It's the same. It's just a translation from the normal cultural stuff that we have and the status symbols to the virtual world. And this will not stop. Some of it will fail, definitely, like Fernando said, but some of them will stay. In games, some of them not only have, visual, appearance kind of, status symbol, but some of them have powers as well. Some of them are tangible, like you can feel them, they have an effect in the world. Some of them are just appearance. And some of them actually are the ones that by use, they actually degrade. So you might have, or you might buy some NFT that goes down in effectiveness every use that you use it in. So perishable, basically, NFTs and things like that. Right now,
that's actually the first time I've heard that concept. NFT that does not have digital persistence, but it kind of wears away after use. That's an interesting idea.
Weapons and games. Weapons and games. Artillery, all the stuff.
Please.
Many years ago, when Mona Lisa or Picasso, when they painted those pictures, they didn't have they had the vision of something bigger, but they didn't have the tools to actually express their way of putting on the paper. So before it used to be the art just as a painting or sculpture. Now the artist actually can go out of their boundaries, out of the limits, and create an art that can be out of this world. So the difference between the art before and now is now the art can be saved and be passed down to the generations, not like other arts that has been lost through many difficulties in different types, sides of the war. Like even now, until this day, they bring in a lot of undiscovered, undiscovered from Egypt, right? Undiscovered sculptures or mummies. So, and some of the stuff come out, it's still art. They bring gold jewelry, necklaces, sculptures that we never seen before, but it's still being digged down and hidden forever. But this art can stay digitally and be passed down, and it will not be worn down, because no matter what, as long as the file gets saved somewhere, you have a digital footprint of that NFT.
Interesting. Because I think we're running down the clock, but I'm going to ask you a question that maybe will trigger something in everyone else, which is, you've been an artist, you've been dedicated to your craft for a long time. And I think, like many artists, you've had your moments of ups and downs, and it's hard, as artists, to get your voice heard, especially if you're working in the analog world. But I think your life has been revolutionized through NFTs. So can you comment just on behalf of yourself and maybe on behalf of other artists, what has this new technology and new modes of expression enabled you to do and changed your life?
Well, if I can say something that even beyond my own personal journey, what I think is so important about this all is that the digital land ownership, which is now possible via NFTs, the digital buildings, the digital paintings, all the different kinds of ingenuity as you guys were talking. But what we're not really paying attention to is why crypto is important, is that there's about 3.5 billion people on this planet who do not have a bank account, and they don't have access to the financial system as a whole. So now they can circumvent the industrial revolution and get straight to the digital one, because even in remote villages in Africa, people have mobile phones and laptops. So they can start to use their own creativity, create their digital lands, their digital art pieces and whatever, and create new economies we didn't know that existed. And that actually spills onto something that is even more important in a relative degree, because we kind of know that countries that do well, they usually take care of their environment in a different kind of way. So if the more people we can lift out of poverty and give hope to and new opportunities for, which is what this digital realm is starting to be for most people. Because even if Elon Musk is going to Mars and the new resources from space are eventually going to be among us, most people in the world don't really care about that, nor do they have access. So what is the world going to look like after 3.5 billion people enter a new digital economy and start to create value that we didn't know that exists?
But I would like to know how it's affected you personally.
Oh, well, I mean, I so to speak, I've held on to 350 digital art pieces, and like we were discussing, because people understood the game dynamics very well in the early thing of the CryptoPunks and different kinds of art and collectibles or whatever, but there hasn't yet been that much expertise in analyzing actually the meta, what is inside of the frame, or the artist's career, or what they've achieved before in this kind of a thing. And so the metaverse, to me, also means that now the curation and that is coming in from the legacy art world and merging with the new one, it's going to be super exciting. But I've been building this actively myself for 12, 13 years now, and I've been very privileged to be a part of this transition. But yeah, 10 years sucked a lot as a digital artist without NFTs.
I like the personal note. I think we had a couple questions, or we were asked to open up to the audience for questions. Do we have any inquiries about NFTs or their application to art, or where the trends are going? Sir Pedro, please. Actually, do me a favor, sir. Stand up and tell us.
I can take that one.
Sure, go ahead.
So let's be clear about one thing. We need to separate what an NFT is and what are blockchains that do certifications. You know, tokens exist in blockchains, yeah? So these certifications, whatever you want to call it, authenticity of Louis Vuitton bag or whatever, it doesn't matter, yeah? The provenance, you know, there's so many use cases. That exists already for a while, yeah? So let's not call those things NFTs. They're not NFTs, yeah? Those solutions exist already. Many companies are implementing, some governments are implementing already some of those technologies to have traceability of many things. So, Dr. Marwan can actually jump on this.
So in the UAE, we have something called the UAE Pass, which is our digital identity and digital Dubai where I work. I worked on that project providing the root certificate authority for it. And in that project, we actually have digital signature, but part of 5 different features we have and solutions. So UAE Pass is your digital signature, so you can sign documents. You can verify any document that was signed by the same solution. But that solution, when you sign something, any Adobe compatible reader can actually recognize that this signature was genuine, recognize also the provenance of that genuinity of signing. For example, who signed it first, then who, and all this timeline of the whole, and timestamp of the whole transaction. We have eSeal, which is basically a digital equivalent of a stamp, which includes, again, time stamping. We have single sign-on, so you can sign into any government application. So we have a number of government services across different government departments and some other private sector and banking providers that have this single sign-on feature, plus the recognition of the signatures from the device. As well as we have a digital vault that you can store your documents in, and you can pull documents from respective government entities by authenticating to them, like I mentioned, with a single sign-on. So for example, in UAE Pass, you already have your digital passport, plus your digital Emirates ID, plus you can sign in other government services. And that's not all. We have other projects and other things that you can use this technology for, which is something like decentralized identity and sovereign identity, where you can give a person information about yourself without giving too much information. For example, if you want to access an 18-rated movie, you don't have to give them your exact age. The app will actually show that you're over 18, and you can access the venue in that case.
Fantastic. Adnan, please.
First of all, I'm honored to see a lot of mastermind sitting here and discussing about NFT. I'm really honored. Thank you to all of you to make Future Innovation Summit again great with your knowledge to share with all the audience. I'm not expertise in NFT, but sometimes I think my question is, what is the bright side of NFT and what is the dark side of NFT? If you can teach us or the audience can listen, I will be really so much appreciated, please.
I'll explain the dark side first, a little bit, and then I'll leave it to the artist to speak about the positive side. So the dark side is, and this is actually hurts the artist as well, which is NFTs are platforms, actually includes platforms that sell art, and you cannot sell a fake NFT in the same platform. For example, if I am an artist and I created a piece of art and I bought it from a certain platform, if somebody tried to copy that file and tried to sell it on the same platform, it cannot be done because the signature and everything required to list an item will not be valid. But as soon as you take that out of that ecosystem and put it in another ecosystem, this can be done. So this fenced kind of gate problem we still have. It doesn't mean that in the future we will not have a solution, but right now, unless all of these platforms are connected, which they are not right now, but technology is not there yet, we still will have this problem for a while, which is the gated fence kind of.
Yeah, I want to add to what you said. There's other part. I'll let the artists talk about the bright side. The other dark side is that people still do not understand. Especially some marketplaces out there, there's a big problem at the moment, is that in Western world, art, trading, whatever you want to call it, when you buy and sell a piece of art, any piece of art that is sold or collectible sold for more than $10,000, you need to do KYC and AML. We've seen most of the marketplaces not doing that. you know, and they are.
Actually, they are doing a decent job right now. I think initially it wasn't there, but now a lot of
yeah,
them
now
are
they
doing
started. Yeah, so there are still some marketplaces, you know, that they
And you
suffer
have
from
even
that.
for listing verified accounts with the ticks and
Yeah,
everything.
correct.
So that's good.
Yeah. So this is another, and this is what many have tried to fix, you know, because it started really bad, you know, and there's still some that facing some problems around that. So the other side of that is, you know, people talk a lot about money laundering around art, and you know, and it gives really something bad for people when they think about NFTs, and they talk really bad, like when they talk about cryptocurrencies and so on. And I think it's all our job, being a platform, an artist, being people are interested to make sure that all of those things are fixed. We are doing the right job to provide the right platforms for people.
I agree and disagree a little bit because I think if you're a money launderer, the worst thing you can do is come to cryptocurrencies because it's all traceable. Right?
Let me make one comment on the dark side, and I'm maybe dating myself a little bit, and this is a little bit personal. I think there's something to be said for engaging in reality and engaging in experience in a physical way, to going to a museum, to seeing physical art, to seeing a statue that's hundreds or thousands of years old. And I obviously made my entire career around digital and virtual and making things accessible, making them abundant. And in general, I think that's a positive thing. But I'm always, maybe it's a generational thing, a little bit wistful about losing some aspects of our prior analog life. I'm someone who likes to read a physical book rather than reading on the Kindle, though most of my books are on Kindle just for convenience. If you want to see, the sculpture David or a real Mona Lisa, there's something to be said for actually making the trip and going to the museum and seeing it. I'm aware that can be simulated and being made more abundant. I just don't want us to lose the binary experience of the physical and the digital. Maybe the artist can comment about that.
Sure, just to say about the positive side, if I may keep on that side, because the problems have already been surfacing. It's that whole thing, like I was saying before, is that there's a whole new digital economy that essentially, with regards to artists who've been thousands upon thousands of years, usually not the beneficiaries of their own labor, this is the liberation of a whole creative class of people. And what that means, we can't even begin to understand what that all is. But what NFTs actually extend to, because in one way you could say that it's a glorified receipt. For example, in America, what brought it its power and provenance was the STEM fields, science and engineering and all that kind of stuff. And the funding for it has been steadily declining for a long time. And to a relative degree, the academia is in some sort of a crisis over there. So what if NFTs could empower the STEM field not only in America, but all across the world, and utilizing it in a different kind of way to creative incentive circles that would become the next trillion-dollar industries.
And it's a fascinating topic, but I think we're about to get the magic cane pulling us off the stage. So let's give a big round of applause to our panelists. Thank you so much for joining us. Good job. And remember to support art and support artists. Yes? Yes. Thank you so much.
Who would have ever thought the Future of Innovation Summit and the Mona Lisa would have come up?